everybody, and welcome to Watching Things with the Gaming Beaver. And today, because I haven't really had like a crazy amount of time or a video set aside to just talk about Jurassic World Evolution, I thought, why not we sit through all of the species profiles that we've had so far, and I give any thoughts and sort of a quick review and reaction to each dinosaur and how I think they would really play in like a Jurassic Park Operation Genesis scenario, or at least, you know, a Jurassic World Evolution scenario. So the first one we have is the TRICERATOPS, a staple when it comes to Jurassic Park, first featuring in the first movie, and I think is featured in only, well, the only one it didn't feature in was Jurassic Park 3. Lost World, it destroyed the camp, and it was really kind of a tall Triceratops. And in this video, you can see it grazing with loads of other Triceratopses, and of course, lying down at the side of a fence. And from all of the dinosaurs that we've had from Jurassic World Evolution thus far, Triceratops seems to be probably one of the most aggressive herbivores we're going to get. I'd say probably like second most, but most dangerous towards a large theropod carnivores, anyway, or large carnivores in general. The second species profile we got was the CERATOSAURUS, and of course the Jurassic Park 3 canon skin having a quick leisurely stroll there in the park, as well as facing off against an ANKYLOSAURUS, giving us our first view at what the dinosaur v dinosaur battles may look like, and basically their whole behaviors. We now will no longer have the JPOG style dinosaur run into the dinosaur, bite it, fall down, it die, and the other one eats it. No, this time it seems like dinosaurs are gonna behave accurately to how they would face off against maybe an incoming predator or a prey item. If it's not something that's easier to kill, they'll probably, like, as you can see here, dance around each other and weigh up the options. Maybe have a little duke it out and then run away from each other after one of them gets whacked, maybe. And maybe after a certain amount of time, one will lose a lot of health and eventually it'll win. I don't know, I guess you could probably help it out by shooting the other one with health, bullets, I'd imagine, like you do in Operation Genesis, maybe. And since we just saw ANKYLOSAURUS in that one, the third species profile we get is, of course, the ANKYLOSAUR, just trotting about in its little enclosure, not really giving us much, but a nice look at a dinosaur that has really only featured in 2 movies, and that was Jurassic World and Jurassic Park 3 for like a brief moment. And next is the STEGOSAURUS, wandering through a lovely sunset landscape and then crying in the rain. And a lot of people weren't happy with how this stegosaur looked. Its tail was way too low, because the stegosaur that they were told to go for was the stegosaur in Jurassic World, where it dragged its tail, very droopy. And next up, the tower itself, the BRACHIOSAURUS, showing a helicopter flying past it and then moving in herds, as Alan Grant would like to say. A strange one to pick, because I don't think BRACHIOSAURUS was even listed in Jurassic World, but in Fallen Kingdom, it's very obviously there. I'm guessing they wanted to put APATOSAURUS as their new staple of sauropod, but no, fans weren't happy with that, and Brachiosaurus back, and here you see. The next one's kind of an interesting one, because we haven't had this in any dinosaur games concerning Jurassic Park, or even any of the franchise, and that is Chasmosaurus. Plotting, as you can see. I mean, of course, all these models look absolutely gorgeous, but are we going to see any real behavioral differences between Chasmosaur and Triceratops? There may be slightly, and they'll probably take like a different habitat, like maybe they'll want more trees, but apart from that, I can't really see too much difference when it comes to Chasmosaurus. Unless they make like Triceratops more of a isolated species, like it likes to be by itself, and Chasmosaurus more social, but to be honest, they're both ceratopsians and they're probably going to act the same way. Next is the GALLIMIMUS, and we get a couple of shots of them, again, conspiring and not really doing the classic flocking as I would have expected to see from GALLIMIMUS. This one raises a few concerns for me, just because I would have loved to have seen them flocking and doing something similar as to what I would imagine them doing in like they did in Jurassic Park. But here, you don't see any real running, like flocking instincts. There's just like pockets of different GALLIMIMUS chatting to each other. Maybe that's more scientifically accurate, but I would really like if one started running, then another one started running, and they all sort of joined in this huge flocking instinct that they have in them, and then maybe they sort of stop and graze and what have you. That would be really cool to see, but from what we've seen just here, it's kind of like all these dinosaurs are separate, and then he'll go chat to the other one and socialize, which is probably what they would do, but I don't know, I would have expected something a bit more flocky-like behavior from Gallimimus. And no, it's just what I want. Next is the PARASAUROLOPHUS doing a similar thing as we've seen, communicating with 3 again, because 3 is the magic number, PARASAUROLOPHUS, and then eating a tree in some sort of like mangrovey area. This was the first species profile that we got to see an alternate color to the right there of that PARASAUROLOPHUS, who's a little bit more yellowy than the other colors. PARASAUROLOPHUS, a staple, has been in every Jurassic Park film, or Jurassic film, I should say. Now we've got World Series. Sorry! And of course, it's the best dinosaur in the world because it's my favorite. Really glad to see it back, and really glad to see my favorite skin return, and that is, of course, the one from the Lost World. Next up, we have the EDMONTOSAURUS, sporting the new scientifically accurate head crest that it had on top of its head. So it's interesting to see Frontier take maybe a little bit of Jurassic lore and then putting a little bit of a scientific twist on it, especially since EDMONTOSAURUS didn't feature in any of the movies, so I think they've got more of a license to do that. So where they can, it seems like they are updating these dinosaurs, as we saw with the Deinonychus, which hasn't had a species profile yet, but will, I'm sure. But again, it'll probably behave a lot like the PARASAUROLOPHUS, more of a herding instinct. EDMONTOSAURUS being the largest of the hadrosaurs that we got so far, unless Shantungosaurus or something. So this might be more of an aggressive hadrosaur in comparison to CORYTHOSAURUS and PARASAUROLOPHUS, maybe trampling smaller carnivores like DILOPHOSAURUS. Or maybe it won't even find DILOPHOSAURUS even a threat. So that'll add some interesting dynamics when it comes to building an enclosure with different species of dinosaurs. That would be nice to see. Maybe we will. On to the next one. Velociraptor. Just a generic Velociraptor, I think. Even when asked if we're going to be able to get other Velociraptors like the one, like Blue, Echo, Delta, Charlie, they're, I'm pretty sure, not going to be in the game. We have had confirmation that Isla Nublar is going to be a sandbox game, and also that we're going to get a Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom DLC for free eventually when the movie's out and what have you. So that will include probably Carnotaurus, Baryonyx, and any other dinosaurs that we've seen in that movie, which was a really nice gesture for Frontier to make a free DLC, which is great. But anyway, Velociraptor, so we see it killing a goat as well. Poor bugger. But this will be probably one of the harder dinosaurs to contain. We've never seen the raptors in an enclosure when it came to the Jurassic Park movies, just sort of in a holding pen. So it'll be interesting to see how they test your security and fences. As Robert Muldoon would say, they were testing for weaknesses systematically. Yes. Next one is the PACHYCEPHALOSAURUS, one of my favorite species profiles, because within the first few seconds of seeing the PACHYCEPHALOSAURUS, you know exactly what kind of dinosaur this is, as it charges straight towards the camera and whacks it. And that is a great character study right there. Even without any words said, you know that this is an aggressive dinosaur. So you get to see it also fighting its own species in a territorial dispute, or maybe over some females. In fact, actually, all dinosaurs are females. I don't know. They would have. But yeah, if they were going to have any sort of PACHYCEPHALOSAURUS, I'm glad to see that it is the Lost World PACHYCEPHALOSAURUS. Next up, we have the METRIACANTHOSAURUS, taking a leisurely stroll through its enclosure, and then in the other shot, we get to see a different colored METRIACANTHOSAURUS, a more purple and orange. It seems like the alternate skin colors we got, like with the EDMONTOSAURUS, that was a dark blue, and this one is a purple version. It seems like we're not going to get two different patterns. We are going to get the same pattern, but different variations. So maybe the highlight will be a different color, and then the basic body tone will be a different color. And METRIACANTHOSAURUS is one of those dinosaurs where it's not a really big carnivore, but it's not a small carnivore either. A bit like in J-Pog, where you had ALBERTOSAURUS, even though it was classed as a small carnivore. So it'll be interesting to see how caring for this dinosaur will be different. But it's nice to see a variation to the carnivores. We don't just have small ones and then huge ones like the T-Rex. Next up, we have APATOSAURUS having a drink from the lake and then getting airlifted out, showing how once a dinosaur sedated, you get to move it. Unfortunately, we do not get to fly that helicopter. But it's great to see an APATOSAURUS. Every time I think about building a park and making loads of these, I'm always reminded of that scene from King Kong when they're all running through the valley and you've got raptors chasing them. And one thing I'm looking forward to is seeing maybe how like a pack of raptors take down one of these. That's always something I liked in JPOG, was seeing them all latch onto different body parts and see if they can bring it down. And also, I would like to see its behaviors, like stomping. Will Apatosaurus be able to like rear up and then stomp on small carnivores, or maybe do a threat display? Stuff like that would be really nice to see. A great addition to Jurassic World Evolution. Next up is KENTROSAURUS. Seeing a group of them there, 3 of them walking together. Again, 3 seems to be the magic number. And then whacking a CERATOSAURUS on the snout, telling it to bugger off, not very politely. A nice one to see. I mean, once we've got STEGOSAURUS, we could kind of assume that we'd have some other Stegosaurus kind of species in there, and KENTROSAURUS is smaller, but more spikier. So it'd be interesting to see if we can put Stegosaurus and KENTROSAURUS together in the same enclosure. I'm sure that would be the case, and maybe you'd have like a matriarch Stegosaurus herding the little smaller ones. Next up, the staple of the Jurassic Park franchise, but not really. I've probably said that multiple times. It's only been in one movie, but it's a fan favorite because that one scene that you saw it in was engraved in everybody's minds, especially the kids that went to see it, who were scarred by it. And that is, of course, the DILOPHOSAURUS. Another great sort of species profile there, showcasing its threatening display, and then its spit. So already, if you don't know about Dilophosaurus somehow, and you're buying the game, you know, there it goes, it spits this venom. And even in its species profile, you get to see it, sort of how it eats, sort of little nibbles, and also how it kills somebody by, of course, spitting the venomous bit on it, which Dennis Nedry would be very happy about. Again, really nice to see it. Jurassic Park colors come back, and I'll be really excited to see how you contain it. I mentioned when I reviewed its sort of species profile, will it be able to spit venom in a defensive maneuver? If there's a bigger carnivore, it'll just like, whoa! It's just like try and blind it while it tries to get away. Or will it be able to spit through the fences at unsuspecting visitors? I think it would be a nice sort of learning curve for you to try to put a viewing vent into a Dilophosaurus exhibit, then to find out somebody actually got spat on and is now blinded and is suing you for damages. I would hope everybody who goes to Jurassic World would be able to sign a waiver. That would be a great way to cover it. Maybe that is something you could do. Research the waiver form or something like that, which may decrease the amount of people you get in, but basically covers you in the event of a death. Wow, that would be really good. Why don't you hire me, Frontier? God damn it. And moving on to the last few that we get, the Spinosaurus. Oh, the most popular species profile video on Jurassic World Evolution's YouTube channel, which just says something about how long we've waited to see Spinosaurus in any sort of form, or at least see it come back into the franchise. Sort of square off against the T-Rex, and then take down a mysterious hadrosaur in a similar way that we saw the T-Rex do in the first trailer. Very strange, because I'm sure if that's now tried to pull on a hadrosaur, it would literally snap. But anyway, it's a nice little fan service for any Spinosaurus fanboys out there. Immediately negating any Spinosaurus fanboys out there, our next one is the T-Rex, which immediately kills the Spinosaurus in a great confirmation of death duels that will be coming, and something that I know you and myself in particular will be deliberately facing off these giant carnivores and other herbivores to see if we can get some unique death animations there. And the final one, as of now, is of course the dopey but incredibly cute looking CORYTHOSAURUS. Aww. Sporting the Jurassic Park 3 skin. Finishing out the hadrosaurs that we had, so PARASAUROLOPHUS, EDMONTOSAURUS, CORYTHOSAURUS, and I think there was also TSINTAOSAURUS. Sorry, I've completely forgot about that one. But anyway, that's there too. You'll be able to make a huge herd of PARASAUROLOPHUS, CORYTHOSAURUS, EDMONTOSAURUS, CINTAOSAURUS, whatever it's called, and that other mysterious hadrosaur that we had Spinosaurus take out. Other species that we haven't seen a profile of yet is stuff like Deinonychus and STRUTHIOMIMUS, which we've already seen in-game, but hasn't had their own species profile. And I'm sure there'll be other ones. Maybe Eupocephalus will be in there. To go to the effort of modeling an ankylosaur, rigging it and animating it, it seems a bit of a waste not to have another dinosaur in there. Of course, we've had confirmation of SUCHOMIMUS, the CRITANNOSAURUS, other stuff like that, that hasn't had their own species profile yet, but will eventually come. And anyway, guys, that is all of the ones as of yet. I know, There's gotta be more. This is clickbait. This isn't all of them. It's either I never do it or I do it now, okay? Oh, and before you go, I just want to say that we will be playing through Jurassic World Evolution on its release date, and we'll probably be marathoning it for a couple of days while it's still fresh, while we're really excited for it, because I'm really excited for it. And also we'll be doing a giveaway, whether it be Lego sets or whether it be copies of the game. So if you want to win a free copy of the game, do stay tuned for that series. Depending on how many keys we get, that'll be of course how many we get to give away, but I'll give away as many as I can. If you enjoyed this video, guys, leave a like if you're hyped for Jurassic World Evolution like me, and until next time, I'll see you later. Bye bye. Oh, anyway.